everyone, Craig Warrack here, back with another showcase of one of my custom Marvel Legends action figures, and today we have Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is one of my favourite Marvel characters. I really like him because he has so much comedy potential. He takes himself so seriously, but is actually incredibly ridiculous. But at the same time, I think he's really underused as a character in the Marvel Universe. He tends to just pop up when the heroes need some assistance fighting some magic bad guy. And he recently, although he did have his own series for quite a few years, he hasn't had much success recently. So anyway, this is my figure of Doctor Strange. The style, well, I'll go into a bit about the sort of design process. I've wanted to make a Doctor Strange figure for quite some time now, basically because I wasn't very happy with the official Marvel Legends figure. I can just bring that figure in for a bit of comparison, and I'll show you. He doesn't have his head because his head was donated to this new Doctor Strange, but here we have the old Doctor Strange figure. And actually this was one of the first Marvel Legends that I actually did some customizing work to. It was almost as soon as I got him out of the box, I was really unhappy with his cape. You can see under, maybe you can't see, but the cape was, the edges came down from where this yellow is here, and basically it swamped the entire figure. So he was just hidden behind his cape, and his cape I thought was needlessly complicated and heavy and really restricted what he could do. So I moved the edges back. That was a really simple job. I had just moved to Japan and didn't have a lot of tools beyond a pair of scissors and some super glue, so that's what I did. But anyway, I was really not satisfied with this figure, as it's not a bad figure by any means, but I'm a fan of Doctor Strange, so I was a bit disappointed by it. So I've always wanted to have a nicer one, and I actually started out making the classic version of Doctor Strange, with his tunic and the cape. However, that wasn't very successful. I'll go into the recipe a little. So I started off using this body, which is I quite like it for the less ripped heroes, less stocky heroes anyway, and which I thought would suit Doctor Strange. And I built up his tunic, and I was basing the design off of, you've probably heard me talk about it in the past, The Oath. It's my favourite Doctor Strange story. I really liked his costume in this. It was nicely simplified. Of course, now that I've said that, I can't actually find a picture of him. He's shot in the first issue. There's an alright picture. See, it's just very nice and simple, and I wanted to mimic that, and also wanted to do the cloak. So I was using this, and I built up the chest, and I embedded magnets in the front and in the back, and then I started working on the cloak. And previously I had quite a bit of success with the cloak for Swarm, so I was using the same idea for this. Unfortunately, it just went pear-shaped, to be honest. It just didn't work out. It's just, I wanted him to be able to wear it, and for it to be removable as well. And it would latch, it has magnets built into it as well, and it would latch onto the magnets in the front and in the back. One aspect I was really happy with was the back of it here. These curls, I was really happy with how they came out. Unfortunately, the rest of it didn't take the paint very well, and it just cracks when you move it. It does have the wire in the edges so that it can be posed, but yeah, I wasn't too happy with how that came out. So it was at that point that I kind of thought, well, I'll have to abort this entire figure. which was a bit of a shame really, because I had finally made a start on this figure that I'd wanted for so long. So I remembered that I think it was in the 90s at some point, Doctor Strange appeared in an X-Men comic where Psylocke was recovering from a fatal battle with Sabretooth. Well, she wasn't recovering, she was not recovering from a battle with Sabretooth. And Angel, Wolverine and Doctor Strange had to go into the the underworld of the Crimson Dawn to save her. And in that story, Doctor Strange appeared in this outfit, or something along those lines anyway. I thought it was really striking at that time, but then of course that was probably the 90s and trench coats replacing capes was all the rage. But I thought it suited him, it made him look more acceptable than this big flouncy thing that would appear, because he's always looked a little ridiculous, more than a little. So that's where I came up with, well, I didn't come up with this design, that's where I got this design from. It's a little modified. So basically the coat comes from the Ghost Rider Blackheart figure, and I was chasing this around eBay for ages and ages. It comes from this guy here. I eventually found it, I think it's from Hong Kong or somewhere similar, for a decent price, because they can be quite expensive. Very strange figure by itself, but the coat is quite nice. I didn't want to use the Nick Fury coat, as that's a little too militaristic for the Doctor. So yep, I used the Blackheart coat and slipped it onto the Electro body, and again it was just too big. It came quite close round to the front and hindered a lot of articulation, so I snipped it down the back and then pulled it back together and sealed it again so that it exposed more of the front of him. So yeah, I was quite happy with how that turned out. Then of course with his Electro arms, they didn't really fit, so I took the arms from the Tomb of not the Tomb of Dracula, well yes, Dracula, Marvel Legends Tomb of Dracula figure. This guy, these are those arms. So that was that. And the collar of the jacket is also this collar. I'll see if I can get this off. Probably not, to be honest. Okay, anyway, so what I did was I trimmed off this collar and I glued it down to the top of the shoulders, like that. There's still a little give in the sides so that he can raise his arms up and down. But yeah, by gluing that down I got that nice collar shape. And what else do we have? Oh yes, Doctor Strange's long white shirt that he's got here is glued onto his jacket so that his legs can come out and he can do the can-can, as Doctor Strange is famous for doing. He doesn't wear this outfit when he's doing that though. I'll leave that to the imagination. And so Dracula's coat tails make up the shirt tails here, and the collar is sculpted. I did try and do some soft things there, but really there's no need to really worry too much about those. The hands come from a Fantastic Four movie, Reed Richards, because you know that I always try and make posable fingers. I really love that. It was one of the things I loved about Marvel Legends. They started off that, I think, and yeah, I think it's appropriate for the Doctor Strange to be able to do his stuff. Don't know. Important to the character for posing him. And yeah, I think that's about it as far as the recipe is concerned. So let's take a look at some of his features. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you, the Blackheart coat didn't come with these little ties round the waist. I just sculpted in the bit that's attached, and then these are bandanas from maybe a Sota Sakura or something, not too sure. But okay, so what do we have? The paint. So the paint job, coat is fairly straightforward. Black, dark red on top of that, then a dry brush with several lighter shades of red, and then a wash, and then a dry brush again. That's it, with the gold buttons going down. The collar, I did a gold, I didn't do a gold first, I did a black outline, then I did the gold on top of that, and then with just a fine brush I just did the black swirls going along it, and that came out fairly nicely. The body, so this had to be symmetrical, this design. It isn't any, well, from what I could tell from the pictures in the comic, it isn't any design in particular, so I just basically took it one step at a time, put the line down the middle, which is actually sculpted in because I had previously been sculpting his tunic for his older costume, and whatever I did on one side I immediately did on the other, and just kept repeating that outwards until I got this sort of I don't know, gilded effect. His legs are plain black, which is useful. Strangely, in this costume, Doctor Strange decided to wear clothes and yet still go around in tights. No shoes, don't know what that was about. In this costume, Doctor Strange would often expose his hands, but I like to imagine, well actually in, again, The Oath, we saw Doctor Strange's hands and they were scarred because of course of his car accident that ruined his career as a surgeon. His hands were scarred and gnarled, so I think that he would prefer to go around in these trademark gloves that he's got, the orange gloves with the little black dots that run up the arms. So I just added them in. And what else do we have? I think that's about it. The face, of course, comes from the older Marvel Legends Doctor Strange figure. I did resculpt the moustache down lower. This is actually, I think, his look from the House of M series. Sometimes Doctor Strange would have a full goatee, but I kind of wanted to just keep the moustache because I think the goatee thing is quite, maybe is more modern Tony Stark style, and Doctor Strange should never be as fashionable as Tony Stark. And he's got the grey bits along his hair, the white bits, whatever you want. And here just we have the mystic amulet of Agamotto. So I'll just show you this quickly. So here we have the amulet closed and the amulet open, and the amulet removed so that he can be without it. He can hold it, whatever. Sorry, I'm running out of hands to do this. Let me see. The back of the amulet, small magnet, as I had arranged for the cape, came in useful. The magnets are in the chest, and the amulet just clicks on. And the cap is actually the end of a biro pen, with a magnet in the back and a line scored down the front, painted gold. And again, that just snaps on. And that came out quite well. It was very, very fiddly to have to sort of engrave in the eye, but I'm satisfied with what came out. I do believe I could do better, but I'm happy with that as is. So yep, the eye can be removed and he can be posed without it. So that's our Doctor Strange figure. Doctor Strange also comes with one more accessory, which I'll just get when I stand him up. He comes with this, which is the Book of Vishanti. So this was just a piece of card and an A4 piece of paper. I cut the card into a rough approximate size for a 6-inch figure, and then cut the paper, one piece of paper like that, and then, using a ruler, measured it out, cut the A4 paper up into much more, folded them in half, and then with a needle and thread, I sewed through the middle of the paper to bind it all together, and then I super glued it onto the card, and then dropped it into some hot water that had a tea bag in it, and that stained all the pages and gave them. And then I just put it on top of the radiator to dry. The heat sort of withered and gnarled the pages, made it look old, and I then put some Milliput along the spine here and embossed the cover with this symbol of Vishanti that's on Doctor Strange's skylight, and then just painted in the details. It's only the first page that's painted, of course. I'm not absolutely insane. Just took a brush and painted in these details, tried to make it a bit more interesting than just lines of text. This here, for anyone who cares about Doctor Strange, is of course the Wand of Watum. So there we are. I think that was when Spider-Man and Doctor Strange shared their first adventure, was by the Wand of Watum, but I could be wrong there. And then this is just a twist tie for the bookmark in the middle, and so the Doctor can, of course he's not going to hold the book while on camera, is he? It's going to just fall out his hand. So yeah, no, there we are. So yep, he can hold the book there, and that's basically Doctor Strange. So yeah, I hope you guys like him. He's also got his assistant Wong, who will be coming up quickly next. He's very straightforward. This is Doctor Strange's manservant Wong. I really just wanted Wong to go with Doctor Strange. I think he's a great character. So this is a Sota Street Fighter Again figure. Basically all of it is, apart from the head, which is from Marvel Legends Quicksilver. I cut off the hair and resculpted the nose and the mouth a little, and then used clay to put the head back in, made sure it wasn't too dome shaped and looked kind of human, and then just painted him. He's got the same gold and black swirls as Doctor Strange, which kind of makes them that their motif, and that's Wong. Not much to say about him, apart from he's clearly awesome. So there you are, that's Doctor Strange and Wong, ready to take on the dread Dormammu. And maybe I'll get a mindless one for Dormammu, who knows.